Hello, friends. So, we are again with the same story, Quality, from NCERT Class 7, and we are going to continue with it. Once, once only, I went absent mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. At last he said, those are not my boots. So only by seeing the quality of the shoes the writer was wearing, he understood that such bad quality of boots he cannot make and he has not made. So he is just saying, he is confirming that those are not my boots. The tone was not of one of anger, nor of sorrow, nor even of contempt, but there was in it something quiet that froze the blood. So when he said that sentence, those are not my boots, there was nothing like the tone was not of anger, not of sorrow. He was neither angry nor sad, and not even he was hating it. But there was in it something quiet. Something quiet was there, which the writer could not understand, but it froze the blood in his veins. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable. So, only by looking at the shoes, he understood where it would pinch, where it would hurt. So, he touched one place on his foot and he said that here it hurts you there, he said. Those big worms have no self respect. Now he is expressing his thoughts about the big firms. Those big firms have no self respect. And then, as if something had given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. So, for the first time, the writer was seeing him speaking like that. For the first time, we are also seeing Mr. Jessler speaking in this story. And he is saying that those big firms have no self respect. It was the only time I ever heard him discuss the conditions and hardships of his trade. So till now, we have only seen in the story how dedicated the man is for his work. But now we will see another aspect of this trade, which he himself will disclose. They get it all, he said. They get it by advertisement, not by work. They take it away from us who love our boots. It comes to this. Presently, I have no work. Every year it gets less, you will see. So now Mr. Jessler is expressing his sorrow and his poverty, his joblessness, his unemployment. He's speaking about all these things and he says that these big firms don't flourish because they work well. They flourish only because they have money and they can advertise. They are taking away the customers who loved his boots, and day by day the orders are getting less. And looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before, bitter things and bitter struggle, and what a lot of grey hairs there seemed suddenly in his red beard. So, for the first time, the writer is looking at him very closely, and he can notice that his face shows the struggle and the bitterness of his life and of his trade. As best I could, I explained the circumstances of those ill-omened boots, but his face and voice made so deep impression that during the next few minutes I ordered many pairs. They lasted longer than ever, and I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. So here you would understand that this man, Mr. Gisler, did not know the tricks of these big firms who willingly, knowingly, they make bad boots so that people can come to them again and again. But he is making such good boots that if you take once, you will not need another boot for next 2 years. So he is doing the same, and this man, the writer, when he was talking to him and he saw the problems of his life and joblessness of this man, Mr. Jessler, he ordered many pairs of boots even when he did not need so many pairs of shoes, but out of pity he ordered. And this time the shoes were even better, and he could not go to him for nearly 2 years. It was many months before my next visit to his shop. This time it appeared to be his elder brother handling a piece of leather. So what happened? He now, after many months, he went to the same shop, but this time he thought that maybe it is his elder brother. But at last he came to know that his elder brother is dead now, and the man who was standing before him, who looked so old, was no one but Mr. Jessler himself. Well, Mr. Jessler, I said, how are you? He came close and peered at me. I am pretty well, he said slowly, but my elder brother is dead. And I saw that it was indeed himself, but how aged and wan, and never before had I heard him mention his brother. Much shocked, I murmured, I'm sorry. Yes, he answered, he was a good man, he made a good boot, but he is dead. And he touched the top of his head, where the hair had suddenly gone as thin as it had been on that of his poor brother. So, perhaps the writer thinks that perhaps to indicate that this thin growth of hair was the reason behind the death of his brother. So he was showing his thin hair over his head. I suppose the cause of his death. Do you want any boots? And he held up the leather in his hand. It's a beautiful piece. And he said he was handing. He had a piece of leather in his hand, showing that piece of leather. He said to the writer, it's a beautiful piece. Do you want any shoes? I ordered several pairs. It was very long before they came, but they were better than ever. One simply could not wear them out, and soon after that I went abroad. So this time he took even more time to make those shoes, but they were even better than before in quality. And the writer says that they were so strong and so well, so good, that no one could wear them out. It could not become old ever. And soon after that I went abroad. So he went abroad, and then he returns after 1 year. It was over a year before I was again in London. At the first shop I went to was my old friend's. So when he returns to London again, he goes to meet Mr. Jessler. I had left a man of 60. I came back to one of 75. So only in 1 year, when he was abroad, the writer was abroad, this Mr. Jessler had become, he looked like 75 years old. I came back to one of 75, pinched and worn, who genuinely this time did not at first know me. So he had become so old only in 1 year gap of like 1 year period of time. He had become so old and so weak, so feeble, that he could not even recognize the writer. Do you want any boots? He said. I can make them quickly. It's, it is a slack time. So he requests that the writer should order some boots. I answered, please, please, I want boots all around, every kind. So again, the writer orders many pairs of boots. I had given those boots up when one evening they came. So again, this time he took so much time that the writer had even surrendered, like he had forgotten about the boots. He had lost hope of the arrival of boots. But they came. One by one, I tried them on in shape and fit, in finish and quality of leather. They were the best he had ever made. I flew downstairs, wrote a check, and posted it at once with my own hand. So he became very happy to see such good boots. He just went and posted a check in his name. A week later, passing the little street, I thought I would go in and tell him how splendidly the new boots fitted. But when I came to where his shop had been, his name was gone. So now the shop was also not there. His shop was there, but his nameplate was not there. And only after 1 week he had gone there to meet him and to say and to thank him for the splendid boots he had made. I went in very much disturbed. In the shop there was a young man with an English face. So now the shop did not belong to Mr. Jessler. It belonged to one Englishman. Mr. Jessler in, I said. No, sir, he said. No, but we can attend to anything with pleasure. We have taken the shop over. Now this Englishman tells him that the shop is now his and they will take any order if he pleases to. Yes, yes, I said, but Mr. Jessler? Oh, he answered, dead. He told this young man, told him that Mr. Jessler was dead now. Dead? But I only received these boots from him last Wednesday week. So only last Wednesday I got these shoes. How can he be dead in 1 week? Ah, he said, poor old man, starved himself, slow starvation. See, he tells him that he starved himself. He had nothing to eat. He did not even eat. He did not have time to eat. The doctor called it. You see, he went to work in such a way, would keep the shop on, wouldn't have a soul touch his boots except himself. When he get an order, it took him such a time. People won't wait. He lost everybody. And there he'd sit going on and on. I'll say that for him. Not a man in London made a better boot, but look at the competition. He never advertised, would have the best leather too, and do it all himself. Well, there it is. What could you expect with his ideas? So now this Englishman tells the writer that the bootmaker had died because of slow starvation. He used to work alone and day and night without having any rest, without having any food. He did not let anyone touch the shoes. Whenever he got any order, he used to work alone and he would make the shoes by himself. And so it took a very long time. And thus the people started going away from him. The customers started going away from him because people cannot wait so long. And other thing that he did not advertised ever because he had no money, so he could not advertise. And he always used best leather. So if he used best leather, he must invest much money for that. But starvation, the writer now asks. He is surprised and shocked to know all this. That may be a bit flowery, as the saying is, but I know myself. He was sitting over his boots day and night to the very last, you see. I used to watch him, never gave himself time to eat. never had a penny in the house, all went in rent and leather. How he lived so long, I don't know. He regularly let his fire go out. He was a character, but he made good boots. So now the man says that I have seen myself that he used to work for a very long period. He did not care to eat on time, sleep on time, and he did not have any money in his house. Everything, whatever he earned, it went in rent and leather. So the young man is amazed, even to he fails to understand how that man lived for so long without eating, without having any money and all. He was a character, but he made good boots. And then the writer also says that yes, he made good boots. So this story was written by John Galsworthy. Okay, so the story is finished. If you want any other story or anything, and if you like the video, please comment. And if you want the question answers to be done by me, you can tell me in the comment box. Okay, goodbye.